What if you wanted to play in the HRE, but Voltaire said, Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be checking out Voltaire's New Nightmare, a mod for EU4 from the Steam workshop. Before we begin, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoy this video. Only 10% of you are subscribed, so it will really mean a lot. Let's get started. Now, Voltaire's New Nightmare is sort of a follow-up to the previous Voltaire's Nightmare mod, and this one aims to bring even more realism and more accuracy to the HRE in EU4. There are more than 550 nations that are playable in this mod. So right now I'm in the Super Regions map mode, and as you can see, we have Italy, the European islands, Switzerland, Austria, Greater Bohemia, South Germany, North Germany, the Lowlands, and France. Let's check out Italy and the Mediterranean islands super region. So obviously I think this part of the map is one that's most familiar to you guys. At first glance, it doesn't look like too much has changed. We obviously have the Pope right here, Siena, Florence, Lucca, all of them exist in EU4, Modena, Mantua, Milan, Venice, Genoa, Savoy, Montferrat, which is a vassal of Savoy. We have Saluzzo right here. Trent obviously exists in EU4, but if we go into a closer look and click on the Papal State, we can see that they have more than 20 subjects. This is basically where the name the Papal States comes from, even though it's known in EU4 as the Papal State. That's why all of them are in a similar color, this off-white color. And basically, in this mod, the Pope has one of the strongest vassal swarms. Just to check out some of the border gore, we can click on this province right here, which is basically, I don't even know what the borders are, to be honest. And this is part of the nation of Bracciano. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the actual province of Rome is this tiny province right here. It has 17 dev, and it still produces paper just like in regular EU4. Here we can see all the tiny nations that are part of the papal sphere of influence, if you would like to call it. And over here we have 4 tiny nations. They're all different nations if I'm seeing this correctly. Citigano, Elei, Cospaya, Montedoglio. Now over here we have Siena, and since these nations here seem to be the similar color as Siena, I'm guessing that they're their subjects, but no, they're actually not. So all of these nations here are independent nations. We of course have the island of Elba as a separate province, the island where Napoleon was exiled to. Is this where the Count of Monte Cristo is from? Moving to the west we have the island of Corsica, and as you can see the detail here is immense, with impassable terrain being in the middle portion of the island as well as one portion here and here. All of it is owned by Genoa, obviously, as well as this tiny island over here, which is also owned by Genoa. We also have Lucca here, much smaller than it is in regular EU4, and some other tiny nations. If we click on the coalition map mode, we can see how small these nations actually really are. I wonder if any of these guys are subjects of Lucca maybe, since they have a similar color. But no, and Lucca has allied Savoy. Here we also have the County of Monaco, which is, of course, as we all know, a country that still exists to this day. And I think its borders haven't even changed since this period right here. We have Saluzzo, always an annoying nation to fight. They always ally big guys for some reason. They allied Munich. We're gonna be checking out Munich soon. Here we have Milan. You can see all the different areas. This is the Milano capital state, of course. We can see some nations that are already at war here. So I guess the way this papal system works is similar to the daimyo system in regular EU4, where his vassals can fight amongst themselves. Here we have that province that Venice has in EU4 too, and Venice is of course a huge nation even in this mod, very powerful. Here we can see the actual province of Venice, which is probably depicted way more accurately than in regular EU4. In the middle of Italy we have Mantua and Modena, as well as some smaller nations sandwiched in between them. I bet playing as Rollo would be a fun game. Some other tiny nations here include Messerano, San Giulio, and Sant'Ambrogio. And just to see the border gore, I'm gonna click on Milan and see that they have an exclave here. Modena isn't that gory, and neither is Florence. And this is basically the extent of the Papal State. So this is the Pope, the one in green, and their allied Siena. And all these cyan nations are their vassals. Savoy also has Nice as their vassal, as well as Baud. Venice doesn't seem to have any subjects, but they have allied Genoa, which is cursed. Finally, this is the culture map mode, and of course we have Latian here, Umbrian, Marchian, Romagnol, Tuscan, Emilian, Lombard, Venetian, Friulian, Corsican, Ligurian, Nizard, Piemontese, and Romanche culture. As we all know, the Romanche language is spoken in Switzerland today, and Latin culture. Now this is one I haven't heard of personally before, as well as this small little enclave of Austrian culture right here. Moving along, we're going to be taking a look at the general Austria area, and as you can see, Styria is present in this mod, as well as Tyrol. Now of course these nations do have cores in EU4, but they are not actually present on the map at the start date. Now this is done in order to make Austria stronger in EU4, so as to balance the game more in Austria's favor, as Austria as the emperor has to be very strong. So if Styria and Tyrol would be their vassals, Austria wouldn't be as powerful due to them holding less land. Another thing to note is that Styria is actually the Holy Roman Emperor and not Austria. Of course, we are 2 years ahead of the EU4 start date. And in this mod, Styria and Tyrol aren't even subjects of Austria. As we can see, Austria is allied to Gors, Ortenburg, and Ravensburg. And this is basically all the land that Austria holds. Styria might be even bigger, honestly. Tyrol's border is something else. I mean, look at this. What's one province and what's the other? Are these two separate provinces? No, they're the same province. Tyrol's borders are hurting my eyes, I'm not gonna lie. Tyrol needs to be stopped. We also have the nation of Scilly, and in the culture map mode we can see the Slovene and Croatian South Slavic cultures which are present. What is this right here? What is this? Are these all provinces? What are they part of? Gors? What's Gors? Do we know? Salzburg has land all the way out here, so Salzburg would be bordering Croatia and Hungary at the start of the game in EU4 if the map was accurate. You also have Bamberg here for some reason. They are present in EU4. Oh. Okay, now Salzburg does seem to be much stronger in this mod. Of course, this is due to the fact that they're much more accurate. And they have some provinces in the middle of Austria. Looking at the culture map mode, of course, this is all Austrian culture. Moving to Bavaria now, Bavaria isn't too cursed. And it seems to be mostly the same as in EU4. We got Munich, Landshut, and Ingolstadt, as well as some smaller nations. Of course, Passau is present in EU4. This is the planet up here, the free city that we all love to hate, Augsburg. And what is this? Oh, why did I do this video? So I can't even make out the different provinces from each other. Like, look at this. So this is one province, and this is part of that province, and this is part of this province. What's this part from then? Okay, that province. What about this? It's part of that province. Dude, this is so cursed. Would you guys even want this in EU4? Like, I don't know. This is too much. I'm all for realism, but I don't know. Moving over to Bohemia, we can see Bohemia and Moravia, of course, which are probably their subject, and yes, they are a junior partner of Bohemia. Now, I wonder if all these Silesian guys are also a subject of Bohemia, and they're not. At least not all of them. So, Jabor is a subject of Bohemia, as well as Wroclaw and Lusatia. This is the trade map mode, by the way. We can see all the different trade nodes, which I forgot to show for Italy. The best thing about Bohemia is no border gore. No. Yes. And in the culture map mode, we can see Czech culture right here, as well as Moravian and Silesian and Sorbian, which are of course part of the West Slavic culture groups. And this is the tiny province of Prague, which starts with 17 development. Oh, Hussite. Let me show the religion map mode. So this is of course the religion map mode in 1443. Of course, Bohemia already has some Hussite provinces, the same as in EU4. Other than that, it's all Catholic. Moving to Switzerland, we can see that we have the Swiss Confederacy tab right here. What is this? So this basically works in a similar fashion to the Celestial Empire in EU4. And these 22 associates, which are all part of Swiss Confederacy, are expected to pay tribute to the nation of Bern. It's basically just a Swiss version of the Celestial Empire, or the Mandate of Heaven. Not too much border gore here compared to South Germany, but the borders are of course extremely accurate with a very good representation of the Alps. And we can see all this impassable terrain in the Alps and all these mountainous provinces. Obviously, I've been tiptoeing around it, but there's no way around it. We have to get into the border gore that is South Germany. Even though I previously looked into it, but just look at these borders. So this is one province right here, which is part of the nation of Steigerwald. And I click off of it and I can't find it again. Ah, it's right here. So this is that nation. We have this nation right here. Wait, what? Okay, so the Teutonic Order? What? So I don't know how well you guys can see it, but the Teutonic Order have a province here, the province of Warren, right here, and Lorraine. Why did I make this video? So apparently the Teutonic Order has lands all around Europe. This is something I personally didn't know. So I guess if you play as the Teutonic Order, yeah. Here's the Palatinate, which is probably one of the bigger nations in southern Germany. We have Baden right here, Unterwürttemberg. Luxembourg seems to be pretty big in this mod. And if we go into the HRE map mode, we can see Styria the Emperor, Bohemia is an elector obviously, Saxony, Brandenburg, Köln is right here, Trier, Mainz, and the Palatinate. And all of these blue ones are the free cities, of course. And there are 74 free cities right now. I'd say that's a little bit more than the 11 we have in EU4 right now. Imperial authority growth seems to be doing pretty good, but I just cannot get over this border gore. How is this an efficient way to rule land? I really don't understand. So here we have the nation of Burgundy. This is the bulk of their territory. Obviously the rest of them isn't portrayed, and they do have 4 subjects. So they have Brabant, obviously, Hainaut, which isn't present in EU4, Holland of course. Luxembourg is a junior partner of Burgundy in this mod. It's not in EU4. In fact, it doesn't exist at the start, I don't think. Flanders is of course not present because it's completely out of the HRE. They would be right here. What I'm wondering if France has any land in this mod. They probably don't. Moving on to North Germany, and we do have slightly less border gore, although the situation in Saxony isn't that great. Meissen Porcelain produces glass. And this is part of that province. This is part of this province. And some people think there's too much nations as is in EU4. Imagine all of this being added to the base game? I don't think I can. Now all of these green nations here are supposed to be part of the Pomeranian nations, so to say. Here we have Brandenburg, of course, one of the player favorite nations, and not too much border gore going on around them, I must say. Here's the province of Berlin, 4 dev, nice. And these 3 little enclaves here are actually one province. This is the trade situation in North Germany. And as you can see, another thing that this mod adds is Hanseatic cities. So all of these provinces, which are basically Hanseatic cities, historically have increased trade power in the game. I never knew Berlin was a Hanseatic city, to be honest. And this is the culture situation in northern Germany. Now, Markish, I've personally never heard of this type of culture. Thuringia is still a junior partner of Saxony, even in this mod. Munster seems to be pretty big. And look at all of these tiny provinces here in the Netherlands. I guess they still haven't built those dikes yet. Wonder if you could spawn a province or 2 right here. There's also lots of border gore going around Hamburg and Lübeck and this nation, Ratzeburg. Rendsburg, now this is a pretty big looking nation that isn't present in the base game EU4. This is actually where Holstein would be. This Marshall is looking pretty cozy right here. Peasants Republic, anyone? There's also lots of border gore going around Liège and these Burgundian provinces. Burgundy has another exclave here. We have Aachen right here. Tiny nation. Let's see what's the tiniest nation we can find actually. Imagine playing as this nation. What nation? You guys can't see it? Oh, just this one right here. The nation of Landau. And this is the area map mode. Now this does look pretty cursed, zoomed out. Oh, never mind, it's still cursed when I zoom in. You guys think there was lots of forts in the base game EU4? Wait till try this. Taking a look at the development map mode, we can see that most of the development is still pretty high in Italy, as well as the Netherlands. And now we're in the trade goods map mode. I wonder where there's gold in this mod. So obviously there's quite a bit more gold provinces than in the base game. Adding this one right here would be a big buff to Italian nations, but adding all of these two would be a huge buff to Austria. As we know, we already have one over here in the base game, as well as the one over here in Bohemia. This one right here would be a big buff to Brandenburg as well at the start. Now the imperial reforms in this mod are pretty much the same as in the regular game, with some extra incidents. And of course, judging by this number, we can obviously see that there are 556 nations in this mod. 556 nations in the HRE, 475 princes, 74 free cities, as well as the 7 electors. Going into the ledger, we can see that Venice, Bohemia, and Savoy, as well as Milan, are the most powerful nations. So basically the Italian nations and the Austrian nations. We have Austria and Styria right here, as well as Tyrol. Bohemia is pretty up there with 34,000. So the knights are also present in this mod. They have a few provinces over here, here, and here. If that's not cursed, I don't know what is. Going back to the ledger, we can see that Venice has the most ships, as well as Holland, Genoa, Barth, I don't know which nation this is, and Wolgast, I'm assuming some of the Pomeranian nation. We can see that Bohemia is the highest developed nation, followed by Venice and Milan, which are on the same level of development. Brandenburg, Savoy, Styria moving on, and in the Great Powers, Bohemia is first, followed by Burgundy, Milan, Venice, Brandenburg, Savoy, the Pope, Styria, obviously Those are also the richest nations: Bohemia, Venice, Styria, Milan, Savoy. We can see their total income right here. And this is a full overview of the culture map mode. And this is a full overview of the trade map mode, as well as the areas, regions, and super regions. So that's pretty much the overview of this mod. Now I'll leave a link to the mod in the description on the Steam Workshop, and shout out to the guy who made it. I think his name started with a K. I don't remember it now, I'm sorry. But obviously this took a huge effort and a lot of dedication to create this mod, and obviously is the most realistic depiction of not just the HRE but of any general region in a video game, I would say, not only in EU4. I definitely recommend for you guys to check out this mod and get a different type of experience of what it's like to play in the HRE, the most realistic experience. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of fun, you know, trying to tidy up the border gore that is southern Germany. Maybe you can even form Italy in this mod, I don't know, maybe you can form Germany or even Prussia or the Netherlands. So you guys can check it out for yourselves. That's been pretty much it for this video. Let me know of any other mods I should showcase, and thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Only 10% of you are subscribed, so it will really mean a lot. And join the Discord, the link is in the description. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.